Lep pozdrav vsem skupaj. Moje ime je Primož Kristan in prihajam iz Slovenskega glasbeno-informacijskega centra SIGIC. SIGIC je osrednja informacijska točka za glasbo v Sloveniji in kot taki imamo široko paleto dejavnosti. Zdaj, naša vloga danes tukaj je povezana z evropskim projektom Europe in Sync. To je projekt, ki ga izvajamo v okrilju ustvarjalne Evrope in gre za to, da povezuje audio-vizualni sektor in glasbo. V približno 3 letih smo nabrali že kar nekaj dragocenih izkušenj s tem, predvsem na festivalu Ment, in sicer začeli smo s povezovanjem glasbe in oglasov, se pravi oglaševanja v glasbi. In vsak dogodek, ki smo ga imeli, je nekako rodil neke nadaljne vprašanja in iniciative. Tako da je naslednjo leto prišlo do filmskih povezav. Imeli smo tudi na Mentu en tak seminar, predavanje, pogovor o uporabi glasbe v filmu. In še eno tako področje, ki je zelo obsežno in v bistvu ponuja precej priložnosti za uporabe glasbe v filmu, so videoigre. O tem pa v bistvu še to področje šele raziskujemo. Tako da danes se v bistvu veselimo enega takega pogovora, ki bo osvetlil načine, kako se glasba uporabi v filmu. O tem se bosta pogovarjala režiserka Barbara Zemljič in pa glasbeni agent, glasbeni supervizor in soustanovitelj Europe in Sync, Markus Linde. Pogovor bo potekal v angleščini, tako da uživajte. Hvala.
Thank you, Primož. I am Markus Linde, of course. I'm a guest here on this lovely festival. Usually, well, my background is the music industry, of course, and usually we speak and perform at music conferences. It's great to be here, and it's great to have the room full of people interested in the subject that we're talking about. It's not so much about me, it's thanks to our wonderful guest Barbara Zemljič. Barbara, if you could introduce yourself with a few words that we can address the subject that is very dear to all of us, music in film.
Okay, hello everybody. My voice is not so good today, so I hope I'm not gonna cough a lot, so the sound would be better. I'm a writer-director. I worked in television, documentaries, also theater. I also teach screenwriting on Slovenian Academy. Made some short films, feature film, and so forth.
Which is an amazing range of expertise that you bring with you to this stage. A few words about Europe in Sync. I didn't quite get everything that Primož said, but in connection with the speech before us here on this stage, we are a great example for a successful European project funded by Cultural Europe. The core of Europe in Sync, of course, standing for synchronization, being like synchronizing music to moving pictures. The core of our work is that we want to bring together the music side with the audiovisual side. Audiovisual being advertising, film, television, and games, of course. We do that mostly with a line of workshops that we bring to music conferences. It's a 6-hour session. Usually we bring in 2 experts from an audiovisual discipline, and we have some 10, 12, 15 professionals from the music side. Then we close the door, and then we have them introduce themselves to each other, introduce the workflows, the way how music finds its way into the moving picture and all that. This is the main interest of a lot of people on the music side. They want to have their music in advertising, in film, connected to moving pictures. And there is a lack of knowledge how to get there. And the more we speak with people from the audiovisual side, we find out that this is not just a problem, a challenge on the music side, but also on the side of the audiovisual media. Like how do people in advertising, people in television, in games, find music for their work? We all agree that there is no film, there is no no commercial, no game without music. So we all want to learn more about it and be more creative with the subject. So I would like to start with the main question that goes for all of the conferences and for all these panels. How does music get in the picture? And I'd like to ask you first, in your capacity as a writer, as a director, with your producing background about that. So how does music get into the picture? At what stage do you start thinking about music?
Well, it depends on the project. Sometimes in the writing stage already. But my experience is to be careful with it. In a sense, when I talk to my students and they write in the script the specific music, for example, I tell them that they have to consider the author's rights, not to be like certain they're gonna get it, because it can turn out to be very expensive. I had once I wrote a specific song in the script, a song from Pretenders for a feature film for national television, Bread and Circumstances, and because it was a Slovenian version of it, it was the song Only You. And the Slovenian, the Kreslin and Jonas gave us the rights, but national television needed, they wanted to buy the rights for all times. So they came out with the bill of, I don't know, it was like 14 years ago, like 48,000 euros. And the whole budget, I think it was about 4,000 for the whole music in the film, so it was kind of impossible. So we have to be careful with specific music, which is a hit from before, and how to put it in film.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected this to be a subject that early in your consideration, because usually the big shock comes after you've made your decisions about which music you want to use, and then you put some music in it and you work with it for a certain time, and then someone says, oh, maybe we should clear the rights, and suddenly you're faced with a situation like that. So in your line of work, this thinking about the rights and the licensing of music comes pretty early already.
As I'm saying, it depends. In that case, I didn't think before when I was writing, and you kind of we had quite of a struggle afterwards. Because already the editing was done. They got the Slovenian rights, but they were trying to get the rights, so they had to just change the song, and that's why I think about it beforehand now.
This is usually a challenge that turns off most people from the subject. Like there's a lot of preconception, like how music is picked, how music is found, and then you think that it's a moment of a light bulb moment by a creative, by a director, or by a composer. They find a great song, they just put it on there, and someone nice will sort it out in the end, and we can use all the David Bowies and Miles Davises and all that. And if the bad word rights turns up, everyone says, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Let's find an alternative that is easy to handle and cheap. And there's many rumors and preconceptions about those alternatives. And it's part of our work, for instance, to make people understand that the rights situation shouldn't be an obstacle, but rather a professional challenge, like finding the right camera person, the right casting the right makeup people or so. It's something you take experts for, or you get your own expertise for in the line of your work. So how did you get to know about all this? Was it learning by doing over the years? Or do you work with experts in that field when you look for music, like supervisors, for instance?
It depends on the project. Sometimes in television you get like a consultant for music. Sometimes, but usually I worked with the composer.
Yeah.
We talk in the phase of after the. Sometimes in between the writing the script already, if needed. Otherwise, after finish the script, where the places to put the music in and what kind. Sometimes it's also the song. It's the beginning of the whole script, because by the atmosphere or a song, I think of a theme and then write a script.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the project.
Yeah, of course. It's also interesting that when we talk about music in film in general, and some people have the association Hans Zimmer. So for them, music in film is always Hans Zimmer, and for the others, it's Quentin Tarantino. It's all those great stuff that everyone wants to have on their Spotify playlist. And it's two totally different approaches and two totally different ways of working. When you mention composers, do you have an own pool of composers you've worked with, where you go to regularly because you trust them over the years?
Yes. I went through, because of this talk, I went through my co-workers from audio field, and I realized that maybe because Slovenia is such a small space with not a lot of money for film, but still I work mainly with composers who also can play many instruments, and they have their own studio. So, and we work together beforehand. So I decide, depend on the project, what is more compatible, who to work with.
I always find the relationship between the director and the composer or the writer quite interesting, because there's two creative disciplines that have to be translated to each other, and you have to find, or the music has to be able to put into its own language what the film, what your vision as a director is all about.
I would say, from my experience, for me, music has to. It's the best way to put the emotion out. Yeah. And it depends what does the film need at precise moment. So sometimes from outside, from a radio source or something. But when we're talking about the emotion of the main character in the film, it has to be written for it and not explained. Yeah. So I think that kind of a collaboration. I remember that I collaborated with a songwriter that made so many great songs for my short film that he could make a CD out of them, and I loved all of them, but they weren't in the film and in the emotion, so we had to keep working on it. Until we came to what we wanted to say from within, not from outside in. Yeah. If I'm making any sense, okay.
It's like composers would be. I don't know. Are there any composers in the room? Right. So you, I suppose you have your ears pricked up, because it's really it's such a delicate profession. Like when you compose professionally as a young composer or as an established composer, there's a lot of people will tell you your music is totally cinematic and you need to be in movies. I can see pictures with your music and with your compositions. But when it comes to this special relationship between the music side, the composer, your own vision and the vision of a director or a producer, it's suddenly a totally different ball game, because you put your music, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to put the music to the service of the picture, of the vision.
I agree, but it's also, I think, director is in the service of the story. We all are, and if you see the directing in the film, then the director did not do their job. And if you see the music in the film, it just pops out, and it doesn't serve the
It hasn't worked right, yeah. And original songs, like the Pretender song, or only you picked them for certain occasions, or to put
it was a specific moment in the climax of the film, because it also the text and the emotion, it was just right there, and we had many problems in the editing, how to kind of make another song for it, that it because it was in the climax, and there is very important what kind of emotion comes out.
Yeah, it's. I think most of us saw Clement's great film yesterday. I don't know what the title is. Right. Did you all see the film yesterday in the presentation? Like it was amazing for the use of music, of Slovenian language music especially, and to make it, and it was a lot of original music, original songs, which he had the time to really choose and find. He told me that he had used some, on his first shortlist there were more than 300 songs that he has to break down and find and see how they adapted to the moods and to the specific scenes, and some lyrics had to be rewritten and stuff like that. So it was a very luxurious situation to be able to get original music made to measure the requirements of the film, and there was also some interesting score by composers. So to find the right original song, and without your own censorship in the back, how expensive that could be or how problematic it could be, to find the ideal and then get it cleared. I think that's an interesting challenge. Do you do that also, like from your own record collection, or do you get advice from the composers or advice from outside?
It always depends. Now I thought about my feature film when the genre was a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
So really specific music is needed, and I knew I needed some Slovene songs that would be known.
Yeah.
And it's always about the budget. It was the money for the songs or the money for the composer, and I knew I needed the songs.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really need the songs, and then I tried to pick them out myself, but I didn't feel like I was competent for it at the time. So I asked, because there was no budget for a music consultant, a friend of mine who's a music consultant, and he gave me many ideas that were correct on the surface. The lyrics was the same as in he watched the first cut of the film, so he knew where I wanted what.
Yeah.
And he gave me like 15 different songs for different occasions, and none of them worked. So I just sat down and I did it myself in a way, and I wasn't sure at the time, is it my nostalgic feeling or am I doing the right thing? On the end, it went good. It just it came together, but I still really needed the emotion. So the written music for the main character. And there was no money for it left, so I asked a friend of mine who's a composer who worked with me many times before, and he just wanted to do it for me, and on the end he got a little bit of
money for
the job, but
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to finish the film without music written for the specific scenes.
Yeah. That turns up in every discussion that we have. It's not a Slovenian problem. I think it comes with the landscape. when we talk about films depend on fundings and you apply for fundings and all that. Is music, the factor music, is that part of the funding? Like, can you ask for like a certain amount of money for music or music consultation or supervision or so in the fundings?
It's in the budget, so it's like in my information, it's like I think that you can get up to 4,000 euros for shooting the music and up to 4,000 for the author.
Mm-hmm.
But on the end, that's the upper scale, so that's not a lot of money for 100 minutes and to put the music in it.
It sounds like really, it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's something that we try to address as Europe in Sync as well, because it's the moment we talk about fundings, we also talk about politics, isn't it? Like, and it's to see such an important factor of film production not being recognized in the funding itself, like that is an own element of music. Using in a Slovenian production, Slovenian music should be honored and supported, my humble opinion. So in order to give this idea a voice, we also try to speak with the right people and encourage a discussion, and maybe speaking about this on a panel like this also is able to contribute to this kind of discussion. That would be great. But it's fantastic to hear this input. The struggling, there is no one way how music gets into a film. There is no template how to work it, and you just have to tick the right boxes, and then it will work out, and the film will sound great and be great. It's a matter of a lot of individual decisions and moments, isn't it?
Yes, it's similar to screenwriting. You get all the tools. But it's not just mathematics.
Yeah.
Also, the music is not just mathematics, and the editing is not so. So you have to like kind of mold it in a way to serve the purpose of the film.
Yeah. I'd like to change.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that maybe if there's a, I don't know, television series, it's more possible to know how to put exactly here you need this kind of music and the other one, and you can use the bank. But the series have many parts, and there more music is wanted for the series, whether you like it or not as a director, and also it's very time consuming on the end to put exactly the music in it.
Yeah.
From the time bank. Sometimes it's easier for the composer to kind of combine, and write their own music as well, because time and money, it's not just the money.
Thanks for putting the spotlight on TV. I was fixed on film for a moment. Do you have something like the blanket agreement in Slovenia? In Germany and many other territories, you can use any original music without a license, as long as a TV series, any TV program is broadcasted in your country alone. So you could use the Bowie and the Miles Davises for free, as long as it's been released music, and you're much more flexible in using, let's say, outstanding music in that context.
Not that I would be aware of. That would be great, but I don't think so.
It's one of my privileges. I work a lot with TV series in Germany, and to be able to use basically all music that is out there, from the most obscure independent stuff to like the established hits, as long as this show or this program is broadcasted just in our country and in the so-called Mediathek, which is like the streaming services of the programs. It helps a lot. It becomes a problem, though, the moment a show is sold internationally, and suddenly you find yourself in the position that you have to clear David Bowie and to clear Miles Davis or substitute them, and that is like is some extra work. But in that instance, TV and film are quite different also in the creative work, as you pointed out.
We don't have that. I wish we had. But what I wanted to say in the editing process, even if there was not music, specific music meant before in the script, at one point we do put the music in just because you need it for the tempo and the emotion, and you know what direction you're heading at, but usually you don't hope you're gonna get the author's rights for that specific song. So the conductor of the music has their sense in which direction to go.
Yeah, the temp tracks. They have a great quality helping editing the film, but also it can become quite frustrating, can't it, when you have to substitute them for something else, and you suddenly have the feeling that everything you put in instead is like the second best choice. It's not really fair, but if people outside they don't hear the difference because they don't hear the original idea. So it should work ideally. But when you do it and you have to substitute, it hurts. It can hurt. I'd like to change the point of view a little bit, because you're not just working on the production, on the creative side and making films. You're also educating in the matter of writing and making films. In the academic world, where does music come into the picture here? Is there, like, how to get students get introduced to using music in film, composed or original music? Is there something in the curriculum? Is it the personal initiative of the teacher, of the professors? This has always been a mystery to me. Like at what point this is addressed in the studies?
Well, on Slovenian Film Academy, we're working on having a sound department at the moment, because we don't have it. So we do have some classes about music, and also for me as a teacher of screenwriting, I also tell the students at which point in writing the script you know you're going to have I don't know, the scene of preparation or the scene of consequences. If you have, I don't know, a sports film or war film, you know before the fight or after the fight there's going to be a montage scene, many preparations with the music over it, and you know it by the tool that's the part you're gonna use, a specific kind of music. And also, it's not just about the music; it's about the silence, it's about the sounds, the atmosphere, and so forth.
Yeah, we tend to forget that this is also part of the tonality of a film. The silence can especially the silence. Yeah, that it's amazing what you can do with silence, and coming from the music side, of course, silence is. You don't want silence. You want to fill it. You tend to want to fill it with music, and to get the input from the director, mostly in their vision. At what point silence is the most important music? That's always the fascinating thing, and this is where the special relationship between the composers and the directors comes in. This mutual understanding of a situation like that.
I just had one film without music at all, and the title was Quiet, so maybe on the end it made sense, but I didn't plan to.
Okay.
It just turned out that it would be. It was not needed. It had to be taken away. I had a composer, but we were struggling with it. And I think silence is one of the greatest tools. Of course, it's never silent in the film. It's always some kind of a sound that it feels like silence. Otherwise, it would sound like a mistake. But I think that's the space where for the audience to fill it with their imagination. And it's a very powerful tool, and you have to know structure-wise where to use it.
Yeah. Did people notice that there was no music in Quiet?
No, but that's also you hope that people won't notice the music or the directing unless it's a song you want it to be a hit, because it has to be an outside music to either to become a hit or to be a hit already and to draw the audience in. But that's a different purpose.
Yeah.
The music that serves the emotion, it should be unheard, otherwise it's not working.
Yeah, but it's amazing that they don't, because we're all used to having music on moving pictures most of the times in a way. When it isn't noticed that there is no music, it's the greatest compliment they could make.
But still, in comparison of film and television, I was shocked that how much music television series want or need when you're not in the. I was working on a series that I was one of the directors, so it wasn't. Maybe it was also because I couldn't make all the decisions. And I put the music in the places I would put in a film, and they wanted more and more and more.
Who wanted more and more? The producers?
Yes.
I find this amazing because, as I said, I do a lot of TV series, and the moment the directors find out that there is like a music consultant or someone taking care of the rights clearances and stuff, they get music crazy, and I get their playlists. Like all right, we're going to work with the series now. I bought you a list of the songs I want in the show, and it's like a Spotify playlist with 50 songs. And so you know that we have 23 minutes, right? So is anything else going on? And I say, like what do we do now? I said, let's start at zero again and see what the idea is. It's not just filling something with your own playlist and with stuff that you like personally and show how cool you are as a director or as someone in charge. It has to serve the purpose, and of course too much is never good. But it's amazing how coming from the film side and seeing that discrepancy, that difference in the media. And I always thought it was the directors who wanted as much as possible.
From my experience and from the colleagues I talked to, not at all. You try to serve the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's come back to the students for they have to, like, during their studies, they have to do like their short films and their like practical works, the assignments and stuff. Do they get back to you and ask about specific music? Do they say, like, look, we want to use a composer, do you have a recommendation? Or we want to use songs, can someone help? Like, we heard that we have to clear rights, can you help with that? Or are they left to their own devices?
It's just the screenwriting is the first part of the process, so we talk about it in that phase. But they continue with preparation for the shooting and with the professor for film directing and other colleagues. So they don't come back to me.
So as long as music is not particularly written into the film, it would be rather another part's responsibility.
If they wrote it specifically, I would tell them that they would have to if they want to do it this way, it's better to get the rights clear before, otherwise they're just gonna cry in the editing room, not trying to. And sometimes it can be better. You have to change the song and it's like going to the store and seeing so many wonderful things, but then you forget about it when you get your own, I don't know, lamp and you have it at home. You forget about the other ones if it's perfect for the space.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the comparison for the music in the film as well. It has to serve the theme of the film.
Yeah, but also in addition to that, to be able or to understand how to find the right music for your film, not just on the composition side, but also if you think that your short film, your exam film or something would be better with an original track that you find somewhere. If you get the support in clearing the rights to that film.
No.
And what do you mean no? Because it's possible. Like publishers and labels, they're used to being approached by student films. And if
for student films is different because they're student films. So the author's rights are not so high up.
It's the same rights. It's the same process of clearing, and of course you have to ask the rights owners. But the usage is limited, of course. So the prices are limited. But to go through the process and get the experience that it can be done, even for a small film, that the publisher or the label will say yes to the use. It will cost, let's say, 150 euros for making the contract or something. To see such a contract, such a license agreement for the first time, and know and understand that it doesn't hurt, that it doesn't bite, that it can be done, that you can understand every word in it because you've worked on it. I think that can be quite an encouraging experience for the students when they move on to greater films. They've done it once, and the process will be the same in the future.
I agree. I mean, it happens, but that's the production sector.
Yeah,
that's working on it because it's execution of the film.
Yeah. It's we try to find advice for film students who are looking for composers when they want to work at an early stage in their film, and it's as we said, it's two different creative disciplines, and how do they meet? When do they start working together? Would a composer say no if, like, a second-year student came and said, "Can you make music for my film?" or something like that? And what we find out when we do these sessions on the music side is that there's plenty of composers in exactly the same situations. They are at music academies, they are working at home, they are trying to hone their craft as producers, and they would be eager to finding opportunities to put their music to films, but they may be even drinking at the same bar as the people from the film academy, but they never know how to speak to the people in properly, or find out how that works. The composers you work with, how did they get into the business? Have you worked with them from an early stage in their career, so that you grew up together in the world?
With one yes, with the other not. It depends. But I think that with the students' films, everyone is encouraging student films. The problem becomes after the academy, because also the actors would love to come to act in a student film for much less money, just to support them. And also it's the same with composers and everyone else, because you try to help the students. But afterwards the situation doesn't change, and we get back to the budget,
the real life.
Yes.
But that's always, we're getting a discrete sign Thank you. We could talk much longer because I'm so much interested in like getting the disciplines together and encouraging each other to collaborate in a, let's say, in a more organic way that making music for a film or finding the right music for a film is not just a one-off that happens by accident or by great contacts or by 15 years of experience, but that people from both sides like work or let's say move in the same circles or in similar circles, and there's an organic approach to all that. In Slovenia we try to do that with Europe in Sync.
Yeah, Slovenia is kind of small, so it's easier to guide the students and tell them about some composers, or they come with some ideas with their friends and they grow with the film together in that sense. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Yes, this growing up together aspect is great. We've been coming to the Ment Music Conference for some 5 years or 6 years, and to see, and we've done Sync panels there, Sync sessions, and slowly people from the film side are attending the conference as well, and they find this quite inspirational to be able to speak with the performing artists, and it's not just an artist on a stage; it's an artist with the same interest in their field. Due to that discrete side, are there any questions from the audience? Interested in this? We will be around for the rest of the day. So if you see us, grab us and speak with us. But for the record for the film.
I would just like to share a comment. Since as head of publishing music licenses and label of national broadcaster, AKTV Slovenia, this is my everyday business, and there are very many films in this festival. With music we try to clear for these films, and there are cases, as you mentioned, that really some producers or directors only at the very end they find out that they cannot clear movies and so on, and that it really costs. In one way, I would encourage creators in film process that they think of our Slovenian music. It was a good case in the premiere of the opening of the festival, where I cleared one piece and one recording, and the producer here after the premiere told me that it was Elvis Presley meant there, but they came in the second when they found out that it would not be possible, that would be expensive. And I really said, wow, how this music functioned well.
Yeah.
So I would encourage students and people that they really think of somehow thinking Slovenian music. And unfortunately, we don't have this case in Slovenia. You mentioned
the blanket.
National. No, it's an interesting idea, but I think our collective societies would never allow it. So I don't know.
It creates more income rather than less, because it should be in the interest of the composers as well as the rights owners of the neighboring rights to have their music used at least in national productions more often, and thus get a higher value for the music. And of course you get the performance royalties for that.
And on the other side, maybe it's not so well known, because it's a few years old, the rule that if you have AKTV Slovenia co-productions, if you have a project that is co-produced in AKTV Slovenia, the recording rights and the performance rights, if let's say it's a symphonic or big band music, jazz music, something where our orchestras, let's say, perform it, they just go, you don't need to pay them, you get a contract, but it's included in RTV Slovenia co-production part, so it's easier in a way.
So people who are interested in what you're saying, they can approach you here after the session. You'll be around.
I would say, yeah, of course, but I would say to them, please write an email.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Absolutely. And it would be really a good idea, maybe that the Academy of Music, they include 1 or 2 hours. I can come and explain a little bit to the students, because they approach to me by email quite often with really very interesting ideas. Of course, they don't know that it would not be only for there's one case. If film is only in the educational process or in student festivals and things like that. Or usually they say, oh, I would put it on a YouTube and there and there and there, and there is just another story in that case. They need to know that that rights, of course, they are in a new world. Clearing rights is quite a complicated.
It's not complicated if you're an expert. It's complicated if you look at it from the outside. But I think it's a great offer that you're making, that you come over to the early years of studies and make yourselves available on a regular basis. Let's bring that forward to the film academies and let's try to make it a case study how that works out for the students and for the quality of the work as well.
And I will just confirm what you say on the music side. It's really the same. There are a lot of creative young composers, performers that would like to come in the film business or in the film world, and it's our task maybe to make them approach to each other. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I would like to add to that. Prenos, who introduced this panel, is the head of SIGIC, the Slovenian Music Information Office, if that's the correct moniker, and he's also a member of Europe in Sync. Any requests for information about the sync process, the music industry, how to get to work with the industry, how to get to Ment, for instance, as young filmmakers, film students or so. They're right in the middle of Ljubljana and they're very approachable. There's mentoring programs for the music side and for the film side. So you'd be more than welcome to approach them as well. I think we have to cut at this stage. Barbara, thank you very, very much. I'd like to hear much more about your work, because I like the individual approach to the matter of music, as you could hear. For the first 30 minutes or so, I think this has been an amazing contribution to the festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.